Welcome, everyone, to the Northeast Indiana Basketball Summit. I'm your host, Ben Smith, joined by my co-host, Jeff Metzger. Before introducing our guest, we want to thank Feel for the Game for providing the platform to have all these presentations live and available for replay. You can check out all their resources over at feelforthegame.com.
All right, so today our guest is Chauntiel Smith. She graduated high school from Southside in Fort Wayne, Indiana. She also graduated college, Indiana Tech, sports management. She is the owner, CEO, founder of Capture Sports Agency, one of the top agents out there. Nice to have you today.
Thanks for having me.
You can go ahead, you can start your topic whenever you'd like, what you want to talk about, and we'll sit back and listen.
Awesome. All right, so we're just going to basically go ahead and talk about basketball overseas for both the males and the females for the most part. And pretty much to top it off will be a lot of people don't start here, but it's the highlights. You know, highlights are huge when you're trying to get overseas. A lot of players don't understand this. They'll send at least several things. They'll send a highlight film that has probably just 5 to 10 minutes of them just shooting, you know, and that's a no-no. You should never send film where you're shooting for at least for however long. You know, if you're just shooting for, you know, long periods of time, it's not good at all. So that's one of the main things. Please don't send film where you have long periods of time where you're just shooting. Second thing is make sure that your film is in high definition. You need to have your film in good quality so that people can be able to see the talent that you have and what you're trying to show us with your film. Third, just make sure that your film is at least 8 to 10 minutes long, at least, probably 5 at the minimum. And make sure you're showing all your qualities. The more you show, the more intriguing you are as a player. And then also make sure you're going against good competition. You know, you don't want to have film where you are showing us you playing rec ball, you know, you playing in a gym or just a pickup game or something like that, because you're not playing against anybody. So you're not really showing us anything. So that's a lot of the things that we get is a lot of people show us their highlights and the highlights are not good highlights. Or we have players who send us highlights and the highlights are 2 to 3 years old. You know, you want to keep your highlights as recent as possible. You know, overseas, if coaches see that you haven't played for, you know, more than 6 months, it's a red flag. You know, so if you're sending them highlights from like a year, 2 years, 3 years out, more than anything, they're just going to throw that thing out, you know, because in their minds, you're not showing them the right stuff. You know, you haven't been doing anything this whole time. So I would say definitely make sure that you have up-to-date film. Make sure your film is in good quality. Make sure you're putting the right things in your film. You do not want to bore somebody with you just shooting for 10 minutes straight. And then another thing is music overseas is sometimes you never know. Somebody might be banned in a country where they can't watch that video because of the music that you have on there. So if anything, just don't add any music to your highlight videos and stuff like that. And try to keep it as good as possible. You know, put in the rebounds, the defense, you use scoring, shooting, passing, cutting, playing iso ball. Don't do that. You know, make sure that you're putting in everything that you can to sell yourself as an athlete to these teams and these coaches as well. And then I would say another thing is for athletes, you know, for the college athletes, if you're trying to get overseas, understand that there's thousands of players of players who are trying to go after that same position that you're going after. You know, so you have to understand that this is a process. Everything's not just going to come strictly just to you just like that. You have to understand there's so many people who are coming out of college, who've been out of college for several years, who are all fighting for the same position. So you have to make sure to keep that mindset, you know, stay positive, stay encouraged and stay motivated. Stay in the gym and keep working until your time comes for that opportunity. And then when you are given that opportunity, don't take it for granted. I know a lot of players who have went overseas who have blown their opportunity. They went over there out of shape, didn't take it serious, or they went over there and they just messed up everything. I know a few players who went over there and they were caught smoking weed, or they stayed out all night partying and stuff like that. That type of stuff kills you as an athlete. So I would say definitely when you get the opportunity, please don't take it for granted more than anything. And I'll say the next thing I would say is, let's see here. I would say even though the season ends, you have to stay in shape. And when you're coming from that, when you're making that transition from college to the professional league, make sure you're staying in shape. Make sure you're staying in the gym. Make sure you're paying attention to your diet, and everything else like that. And like I said before, make sure you understand that there's a lot of people going for these same jobs. And then continue to prepare yourself for the next level. Reach out to as many people as you can who've been there, who's done that, who can help you understand the process so that you don't get into a situation which is putting you back further than where you want to be when you first start out. I would say also keep in mind of the knowledge that goes into the overseas thing. So a lot of teams overseas are looking, for that D1 talent, for those top caliber teams and stuff like that. But if you are, a lower level player, I would say don't lose hope. Only because there's a lot of teams overseas who would want to still pay for the low level players. The only thing is you'll be taking a lower pay cut, but it's better for you then, so that you can get your foot in the door and start building up your resume so that you can get to those big leagues. So never lose hope. Just because you're a low level player, you can still play, but you would have to take those low level payments depending on where you are or where you came from. But you should still be able to do it on that level if you stay at it. And then the next thing is just understanding the imports. Some teams can't bring in too many imports. So you have to know that's where you get an agent, so the agent can, educate you on how many imports can come in so that you're not trying to fit in where you can't get in, stuff like that. And then, it's you also got to realize that with it being so many guards in this industry with basketball, you have to understand that they're going to go for the bigs first. They're gonna pick the bigs first because there aren't too many bigs out here in this industry. But there's so many guards. There's so many guards everywhere, whether it's male or female. There's so many guards. So you just have to be aware of that and know, who you're going up against and who your competition is for the most part. And then going into the contracts for playing overseas, you have to know that your flight has to be in there. The room and board has to be in there. The food, the Wi-Fi, the healthcare, all that stuff has to be in there. And if it's not, 9 times out of 10, there's something shaky or something wrong with this contract. And then at the same time, if a team is paying you numerous amount of money, like say for example, $30,000 for you to come play with them a month, but then they want you to pay for your visa, 9 times out of 10, it's a red flag, So you just have to be able to put yourself in the right situation where you are talking to, the right agents or the right people who will help lead you and guide you in the right direction on where you're trying to go and where you're trying to play at for the most part. And I think that's it, guys.
Okay, and I've got a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Could you tell us how many clients you're up to and what sports they're in?
Definitely. So I have 4 clients right now. Charles Baines, obviously the coronavirus has everyone back home right now. But I have 4 players right now who are all FIBA overseas basketball players. Just signed 2 as of recently. One is from West Virginia, Lucky Rudd, and then the second one is from Montana State, and that is Oleana Squires.
And Ben, do you have a question or any?
Yeah, I got a few questions here. Hopefully you can, kind of expand and talk about more so than just specifically, yes or no question. But like, so you're talking about, like the, 5 to 10 minute clips, game footage, high quality and stuff. If someone was putting together, like what type of workouts or drills would you recommend somebody, like if they were, what kind of workouts and drills, I guess, would coaches be interested in seeing as in addition to game film?
None really, honestly. They really want everything to be straightforward. So they really just want, that highlight film, and then they want your full game film. Because they want to be able to look at that highlight film and then see if it transitions into that full game film. So they're just looking at that. That's why I say in the highlight film, make sure that it's as long as possible. The more you show, the longer the highlight film will be. But like I said, the more that you show, the more intriguing you are as a player to that coach and that team.
Great. So for anybody considering professional ball or pursuing overseas basketball, what are some things to consider regarding travel or lifestyle or like, family situation, especially once you get to one of those places overseas?
Definitely. So the travel is you're supposed to get, 2 round trip tickets, which is for you and one other person. That's if you want to take that one other person. But most of the time you're over there by yourself. If you want to be, I know sometimes some players take either their girlfriends or their wives, or something like that. But then once you get over there, it's all on you. If you don't, reach out and try to get to know the culture and stuff like that, it's harder for you to not understand for the most part. And then that's mostly it for that.
Is there anything that you do as an agent to, help prepare them for like a specific place they're going? Like, do you have specific like contacts or people put people in touch with, or is that just all handled through the team?
Sometimes a little bit of both. For us, we try to educate our clients on where they're going. So telling them, places that they can go, places that they shouldn't go, what's a good place to eat, what's not a good place to eat, places where they can go and shoot around, if they wanted to outside at a park or something like that, and places where they can, go and train, some of the youth that's there in the other country as well, if they're up to doing stuff like that. So we pretty much try to tell them, what's the good and the bad about the stuff and what to look out for the most part.
Cool. So before we jumped on, you said you were, reading through the 300 plus page CBA and getting yourself acquainted with that. So I guess what would a typical day or week or, kind of look like for you? Obviously now it's a little bit different with the situation, but as far as maybe the preseason, during season, and after season, I guess maybe give us an example of how a typical day or week goes for you. Especially when
go ahead. I would say
business. Yeah, sorry.
I would say, man, it varies. Every day varies. But I try to keep a set schedule so that I don't get veered off too much. But it varies from watching game film, talking with coaches, talking with athletes, parents, going to the games, staying after the games, talking to the clients, talking to the parents and all that kind of stuff, putting together camps, clinics and stuff for the athletes to help them build their brand and stuff like that. It's negotiating and contacting these coaches, trying to, get the best opportunity for our clients. It's reaching out to people to find endorsements and sponsorships for our athletes. And sometimes it starts early in the morning because overseas we're on different time zones, so it's like the earlier we get up here, they're like probably just going to sleep or close to it. So my day starts roughly around 7:30, 7:30, 8 o'clock every day. And I'm up to about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Just working on everything, trying to get everything together and done for the athletes. And like I said, that goes to, recruiting the athletes, putting together material for the athletes, signing the athletes, making sure they are set up with their insurance and their financials and stuff like that. Just doing as much as we can to help our clients and the company as well.
Sure. So, we were saying, we have the same degree from the same school. So when did you know, or how did you figure out that you wanted to start your own business and this is how you wanted to, serve and give back?
I think I figured it out in high school when I was a junior. When I realized that, I wasn't going to make it to the WNBA, I figured that out early. But then it was to a point where, I made it to state my junior year in high school for track. And I'm like, okay, maybe this track thing might be okay, because I just started running track my freshman year in high school. So for me, basketball was always my first love. And then it was track. So it was like, maybe track is where it's at. I don't know. So then I thought I was going to be an Olympian. Got to Tech and found out that these people are running like zebras. Didn't like it. But I love my track team. But I think it was like my sophomore, junior year in college where I realized wasn't going to be a WNBA player, wasn't going to be an Olympian. So what can I do to still stay in sports and still be able to get back to my community? So I ended up getting an internship down in Dallas at this place that was once called Max Sports Group, but it's called Proverbs Management now. Got my internship there, got hired in as a Midwest director. And then from there, I heard this voice in my head, and it was God saying, bring it back to Fort Wayne and help out your community and your peers around you and give them the opportunities that you didn't have. So I brought it back here to Fort Wayne. And then from there, I had help. I'm pretty sure you guys know Professor Dyer. So Dyer put me in contact with a law professor that was at Indiana Tech, who was a former NFL agent that I had no clue about. So got in contact with him, and he pretty much helped me set everything up. Helped me set up the business, reading through the paperwork, the fees, and all that other stuff. And it was him who saw the passion in me and the dedication, and he wanted to help me build up CSA from there.
Awesome. I sparked one question, but going back to one I had previously. So what, you went from, obviously you're shooting for the stars as far as what you want to accomplish. Went from wanting to be in the WNBA, then the Olympics. So now having your own agency, what are some of your career goals? Where do you want to go from here?
Oh, well, we want to be one of the top sports agencies ever known. At least, we want to be somewhere in the, top 50, top 40 if we possibly can. I know one of our goals is to get, the company, the headquarters built here in Fort Wayne. And then we want to have additional offices in the Chicago area and in the New York area and the LA area as well. So.
Cool. And are you primarily basketball? I know sports agency, you can, work with all different athletes, but what is your primary focus, I guess?
Right now it's just basketball, which is WNBA and overseas basketball. But I'm studying for my NBA license right now.
Awesome. I don't have any more questions written down. Jeff,
I got one more thing. All right. So I got a question to ask you. There's a date coming up, July 11th. What's that mean to you?
Everything.
Everything. And can you share with us what's going on July 11th?
Definitely. That is when I am supposed to be marrying the love of my life.
I'm happy for you. I just had to bring that up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And then I'll add one more thing as far as with the overseas basketball and stuff like that. So there's a type of play overseas. So it's much different from the rules over here in the States where everything in the States is a lot faster. It's more iso ball as well. Whereas overseas, it's mostly pick and roll, drive and kick, moving without the ball, screens without the ball, more cutting without the ball, all the fundamentals that are instilled in the European game. So that's more so what they're used to. In the U.S. it's more fast paced. You have more athleticism, more isolation. So that's something that they're looking at or looking for overseas basketball, is that those small things, like I mentioned in the highlight film, when you're, driving and kicking, doing the pick and roll, moving without the ball, all those small things. So
Awesome. If anyone, wanted to get in contact with you later after they watch this on YouTube, how could they reach out?
So you can find me personally on Instagram at Agent Chauntiel Smith. You can find me on Twitter at Agent C Smith. And then for the company page, you can find us on Twitter at Capture Sports. And then on Instagram, it's at Capture Sports Agency.
Awesome. I think this was really beneficial. I hope some people take a lot from it. Even if they take just one thing, I think it's providing a ton of, whether it's from the business side, whether it's from the actual playing side, your personal experiences. So I really appreciate you coming on, giving back.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.